It's that time. We're going to talk about Bishop and ISO-8. Been getting tons of questions on what ISO class should I have on Bishop. And we're going to talk about that right now with my guy. Who is it going to be? Who's it going to be? It's Reminex. What's up, Rem Guardian? How are you doing today?
Much better. I got a 5 red Bishop. I heard you got it better.
Yeah, I pulled a 6. My goodness. How did I get so lucky? But yeah. So we're going to talk about ISO-8 now. The problem with, I want to give some context to this is that we're working on it, right? We definitely still need to play with Jubilee. And the main thing that I've been thinking about, and I know you've been talking about too, is Jubilee's passive, Mallrat, because she's legendary and she has to have a passive by the name of Mallrat. Makes sense to me, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it just calls out to the, the kit that they gave her.
Yeah. So there is an assist mechanic, which is similar to that, not so much like Young Avengers, Captain Marvel, but more like you said, Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah. So most like Fantastic Four because it's a random member, and then you get the assist on it. So the way that we found Fantastic Four working the best is if there were 2 skirmishers and 3 strikers, or 3 skirmishers and 2 strikers, depending on the damage potential. And we'll go over that in a second here.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what I thought, and then you correct me because you're the ISO-8 god, right? All right, let's just go. Okay, so first things first, Beast seemed like he was a no-brainer healer. It's just like, oh my god, he has to be a healer, right?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're going to use Beast as a healer, we might wind up making this whole team healer in the raids. We have no idea if they're actually going to be a full healer. However, because most of his abilities interact with the enemy team, they do an attack, with the exception of his buff, which comes late enough that you won't have to worry about the assist, that you're going to be boosting all those guys. His opening a salvo could trigger an assist, and that might be enough damage to punch through some of these characters.
Right. Okay, so there's probably 2 possible answers to that, but a healer seemed like the get on that, right? Mm-hmm. Healers. Okay, so Iceman has horrifically low focus, like one of the worst in the game, correct? And he's applying slow at all kinds of things. And I know that Skirmisher at level 3 is not as impressive as Skirmisher at level 5, but maybe just explain the striker skirmisher combo, the way that works currently, which they said I know it wasn't their intended way of working it, but the way that it actually works, because it ends up being a triple attack. If you have a striker going first and then the skirmisher assists, applies the vulnerable, then it triggers the striker. It shouldn't work that way, but that's how it works. So explain the striker skirmisher combo with assist, because it's really bizarre, right? And it's not obvious. It's not intuitive.
So the striker attacks first. If the skirmisher assists them, then the striker gets a second ISO attack for a total of 3 attacks.
Even if there's no vulnerable on the target at the beginning of the turn. So a target without vulnerable gets hit 3 times just because the skirmisher assisted, right? On a striker.
Correct.
Why? Correct. It's so confusing. We had to just figure it out. And they actually acknowledged that it wasn't supposed to work that way, but they're going to leave it alone for now, is what they said. We're just going to leave it alone.
So the real reason is real simple: is they made 2 attack phases, our normal attack phase, and they made the ISO attacks a second attack phase, which is why it's simple. It's simple. They just built the ISO attack as a whole new system. Okay,
so then let's go to Kitty Pryde now. Oh, by the way, another logical choice I think for Iceman would have been Raider because he has AoE. I just want to put that out there. Raider kind of also makes sense, but I think with the Jubilee in the mix, it's going to want to be Skirmisher to take advantage of the Skirmisher striker assist, right?
Yeah, most likely, mainly because you also may want to get that skirmisher boost, especially if we're thinking that he's going to be showcased in the the gamma raids, the ones that have the X-Men simulator raids. Yeah. We got to talk about where to even use these guys.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to that. And then, and by the way, I'm just giving my initial thoughts. I actually have not consulted you on this yet. But this is just coming out of my brain at this point. Kitty Pryde. I think that if we're going to optimize the team for Skirmisher Striker, her basic attack clears positive effects. And maybe I'm going to want to do that, especially if I put the T4 on it, then we have a situation where a Striker makes sense kind of the same way that it makes sense for, let's say, characters like Black Bolt. Sometimes people are doing that on Venom. Sometimes people are doing that on Scream because they're trying to get as many positive effects cleared as possible on the double tap, right? So I thought Striker made the most sense on her.
You could do striker. You can do skirmisher. If you decide to make beast the striker on there. But
Right.
I think for her it makes the most sense because beast flips effects too, so that might wind up being more damage depending on how we envision them taking on what teams they do in war or whatever we wind up using them for.
So there's multiple correct answers, and then lastly, or not lastly, we're talking about Jubilee. Lastly, Bishop. Seems like you just want him to be the striker because he's going to be doing a lot of the damage on the team, right? And counterattacks and all kinds of stuff. So
striker seems really good. With the like, you know how we had with the basically Cole with the counters, just all that raw damage coming at it. But as a skirmisher, he would be applying the. This is why there's not a lot of wrong answers here.
Yeah.
If you theory craft this right. And it works best for your team because maybe he's not the best, stars or red stars in your team. However, from the way that he's working right now, the fact that he has a phenomenally overpowered attack, like his damage is high. The fact that he gets offense up with Jubes in the party, and the fact that he's going to have a ton of damage going out, and I do like him as striker.
Okay, and then lastly, Jubilee, which we've not, and so. I think where we're going with this conversation is to be continued. I think there's a lot of correct answers. So I was thinking skirmisher on her.
Striker, most likely, just because of the blind.
Okay, or striker or skirmisher. So, but you're going to need more skirmishers, right? You need to have 2 or 3 skirmishers if you're going to do this thing, right? So who's going to be the skirmisher on the team other than Iceman?
So most likely Iceman and Beast.
Okay.
And then if you're not punching through them, if you need them to sustain, because they don't do a ton of damage, then you would probably make them all healer.
So what's the upside to to do the blind if it always is applying in raids? Is it mostly to be outside of raids?
So basically, it's because of the fact that that's her basic. Now look at her other abilities. Mm-hmm. So it's basically whenever she follows up, she's going to be landing a blind. Yeah. So the idea is mostly she'll be attacking, and then the secondary attack will apply a blind. So in raids, that's going to be really important because you can take that high damage target that's about to go with high speed, hit it. She gets the assist. Okay. So whatever ability she has is going to blind.
So let's say you're right. So this team could go all healer, but let's say we're going to just focus for striker skirmisher, right? And let's say we want to have 2 strikers and 3 skirmishers. Which are going to be the top 2 priority? Given that I also want to go on another limb here, I also believe that outside of this team, there's going to be a place for Jubilee and Bishop outside of this team. Like I think they're going to be a standalone duo, if you will. Yeah. So then what are you going to do with that then?
If you got Doom, they might be the new arena meta. So
yes.
we're gonna be playing with that. So that would mean that would probably mean you're gonna put Bishop as a striker and Jubilee as a skirmisher. But we don't know. You can flip that around depending on the role. I mean, it really just depends on how often you need that blind. Imagine that they're double tapping and the blind becomes there, and it's a lot of the mechanics we haven't seen yet.
Right.
So I remember I like to test things because I don't think. I'm trying striker and Iceman to see if it makes any difference because I am noticing he is applying he has the 1,000 focus on the basic, so he is applying that regularly when he is doing his basic attack. However, I think he's just low focus. It is the Okoye factor 100%.
Okay, so there's a lot of things to consider on this team, and it's to be determined. But I think we've got a general direction that we're going to be testing. That being said, I want to direct your attention to the Reminex and Company tier list. Link is in the description. It's also in most of our Nightbot commands on Twitch where people can type explanation ISO and this comes right up because you update this and this spreadsheet updates over time. So keep that in mind. 2 questions and then we'll finish up the video with these 2 questions. 2 things. So I see this. I see legendary characters as. The legendary characters of recent have been good standalone or good duos, right? You get what I'm saying, right? They outside of their team. So as a complete team in war, offense or defense?
Because of the evade, they might be annoying on defense. I do think that I prefer them as an offensive team because of the amount of damage, but if you don't have a lot of resources to put into them, I think they're going to baffle people on defense trying to get through Bishop.
Okay.
Because The reason why I say that is if there's a raid node where you have to get through Bishop, and it's pretty annoying.
Yeah, because it looks like the kits play pretty well by themselves as far as the simplicity, specifically Bishop's kit is quite simple, and it's got that intermittent taunt. It's going to be happening all the time. Quite good. And then lastly, viability of Bishop and Jubilee as a duo. And I'm going to go into an extreme and say even in arena with Doom. Are they going to be the next power couple in this game?
You know, and we always try to say that we're going to unseat the Blackwater in arena, and I just don't. I don't know. I will tell you that I am fascinated by their skill set, right? Because Bishop obviously is going to be doing tons of damage. He really gets a really cool benefit from. Basically, if he gets the Doom turn up, where if Doom gets his time platform and Bishop is the top damage, it's so much damage to the enemy team. And in addition to it, I don't think anything survives.
Yeah, I'm always skeptical on new character releases, but I will say that legendaries usually don't disappoint. And usually, if we look at the history of legendaries, they were always accompanied by another character that Black Bolt and Yo-Yo, Phoenix and Colossus. It was always like a duo, right? A duality where one the legendary is amazing, Ebony Maw and Thanos, and I think that's what's going to happen here with Jubilee and Bishop is they're going to be places where they can work elsewhere. That being said, are you pretty excited about them?
Yeah. So you guys know that I'm going to be as per the promise. I gotta shake it on Twitch,
dude. Do we even want to talk about DD4 viability? My goodness, right? Because that's the thing, right? What are we going to do? I mean, these guys could be all DD4 viable, right?
Yeah, I'm taking her in. I'm taking Jubilee in the day she's released.
All right. Because I've been reluctant to answer those questions. It's like, I want to see somebody else do it. Going to 15 is a commitment. And the handful of people that choose to take either Jubilee or Bishop into 15 and use them in DD4, I will be watching closely, believe me. Because I don't think anybody should do that. I think you should do it, not anybody else.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is the Jubilee choice was made for me. That's just who I have left over for Matt's is Mutant. I'm out of G15 for everything else. Once I bring up Maw, I don't have the extra Mystic. I don't have the extra skill. I can't justify bringing up knowing how he works after seeing him. Nick just doesn't do it.
Right.
And so Jubilee just seems to have the most potential there with the debuffs and then extending the debuffs. But
you're not going to pick her. Are you not going to pick her over Phoenix though? If you're going to take Phoenix and Jubilee.
Phoenix is already done, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, people are saying, "Hey, can I take Jubilee instead of Phoenix?" I'm like, "Oh, that's a tough sell there." I can see you doing both, but not over Phoenix, maybe. But it doesn't look that way on paper right now.
Yeah, so because I took that extra bio character early, the Captain America, I can't take Invisible Woman because I took the 3 symbiotes to even be able to really consider getting through City. So I finished City last week, and now it's just a matter of getting in with Jubilee, and we're gonna take her in.
Okay, so guess what time it is?
Time for the giveaway.
It's time for giveaway. So I really hope you liked this video today because if you did, you are in luck. For every single person that likes this video, you will be getting for free, not with money, but for free in your account, and not a 7-star, but an 8-star. No Bohoomer. How do you say it? No Bohoomer? No Bohoomer.
This is not a scam.
Boohoomer.
This is an actual emote on your channel. How dare you? What gives you the right? Who do you think you are, Rebenex?
I might be infringing on a couple of properties there, but after
I'm going to notify the Dodgers. Maybe they'll come after you, right? All right.
I love it, and I'm sure it'll wind up. And I heard you have something in store for me. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. So stay tuned. Be sure to use the spreadsheet to keep posted for ISO-8. Hopefully, you have some. We're still waiting to find out the final placement. I think there's going to be multiple correct team ISOs on this team. I really think it's gonna. I think for me, I'm probably going to be mostly using it in raids, so probably it's going to lean more heavily on healer, anyways. And then I'm just going to focus on the duality of Bishop and Jubilee to get those two ISO-8 so they work correctly by themselves, and then the rest will be more geared around raid is probably the direction I'm going to go. All right, let me know what you think in the comment section, and as always, thanks for watching and keep on gaming. Bye.
Would you hit 10?